strong.
Mm-hmm.
It's OP.
All right, XSplit is now set to Skype frame rate, and we are still dropping, but not nearly as much as we were. Like,
All right.
instead of roughly 20%, it's like 5% now.
Mm,
And now it's not at all, weirdly enough.
okay.
Yeah, we did it. We learned how to internet.
Nice.
And my phone is going crazy, probably saying, hey, you're live, or something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be weird. I don't follow myself. You know what's weird is that my phone keeps vibrating because my admin Burning Barrel fucking email won't sign in. So
Oh,
it
weird.
reminds me that it can't sign in every 10 minutes.
Great.
So
Great.
at work, it's just vibrating every 10 minutes, and I know people are thinking that, like, holy shit, he must be popular. It's like, no, it's just that this thing is fucked, and it wants to remind me all the time that it's not working.
Sounds like it would drain your battery.
You're right, it probably is. My battery life has been okay, though.
Mm.
But yeah, because then it's like a background process going all the time trying to connect and failing. So yeah, it probably is doing... I gotta get it looked at, fuck. I just gotta get it done, but I don't know why it's not connecting, because it's the right password and server information and everything. Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
And like, my normal account on Burning Barrel and the podcast account all work fine. It is only the admin account that doesn't work.
That's fucking weird. Fucking network stuff is weird. Stuff is weird sometimes.
I hate
Sometimes
it.
Stuff is weird.
I hate it so fucking much. But anyways, welcome. It's a podcast. We're back.
Hello.
Probably going to be shorter because we both have like nothing to talk about. But
I have one big thing to talk about, but
yeah. And I might haze you on it a little bit because I don't know how this could be any good, but we'll get to that when we get to that. First of all, I'll say I've been having troubles with my computer lately, and it is really fucking annoying. Every game is taking way too long to load, and this started right after D4 like destroyed something, I think, like a file system or something, because now even World of Warcraft, it takes me 5 literal minutes to log in.
what the fuck?
And then after that, it's fine. It'll hiccup here and there, but of course it will because it's an MMO, and like when it's doing weird connection stuff, it just does sometimes. But it takes 5 full minutes if it connects at all, because sometimes it
Weird.
just drops from inactivity. And this is the same that's been happening with Blade and Soul, so I can't even play that game because of how laggy it is. Like, I'm having the latency issue or whatever loading it, and these servers are in like Taiwan, so it's two bad things stacked up on each other. That game is unplayable for me right now. The Witcher is
Dang.
doing some weird things, like even a AAA game. This is how you know AAA games are good and have a lot of money behind them, is that they hiccup, but they hiccup in a way that still keeps the gameplay going. Like, the only time they do is during the cutscenes when you choose an option, and then it gets blurry for a second when it's thinking about which option I chose, and then it'll go back, like, it'll pop back, which
Yeah.
is fine, because when I'm doing combat and stuff, it works totally fine, and I would be so pissed if it just stopped during combat in that game.
I know, but that always bugs me. That like because I feel like cutscenes should be the easiest thing to work, and that like cutscenes are like the first thing that breaks on AAA games. It's like
Yeah.
just confuses me.
Yeah, I don't really... It's weird, because even Telltale games running well have that weird hiccup moment, too, when it's thinking about, like, what the next scene is.
It's
and
true.
It leads to hilarious stuff. But what I'm saying is that this game is so well made that, like, even that problem is consolidated to the parts that really don't fucking matter at all. And that's nice, at least. Like,
That's good.
it's still playable. Maybe because it is a single player experience. Like, there's no multiplayer online. There's none of that. Like, you always have to be online shit. It's all a single player experience. That being said, it does take a while longer to load, But that game always kind of took long to load anyway, so it doesn't feel too bad to me.
I've heard on consoles the load times in that are like worse than Bloodborne's load times.
That's really weird. That's why I think Bloodborne should just come to PC. Because before all of this garbage started happening, The Witcher would load within like a minute. And that's totally fine with me. Because it's still a huge game. So of course it's going to take that long.
Yeah, I think it takes like 5 minutes of loading, I was hearing, on consoles.
Oh, so it's like World of Warcraft for me now. That's great. Yeah, so that's kind of one of the reasons why I didn't feel too inclined to jump into any gaming this weekend at all. But it's fine because I spent a lot of time with The Witcher, like maybe too much time. I started over again because I fucked up in that game real bad. There's a point where... Okay, so at the very beginning you're looking for a woman named Yennefer or whatever. And, like, spoiler alert, you find her in the first area, and then you go to the second area with her. The problem is, if you complete that story mission and go to the second area, every side quest you are on gets canceled because you are no longer in this, like, part of the world. So I was level 3 in, like, a level 6 to 10 area, and I was getting fucked. By, like, everything was two-shotting me. Even, like, the little bandit guys. And it doesn't help that I was playing on the second hardest difficulty because I like video games and I can play them. So what I've done is I started right back from the beginning, turned it down to the second difficulty. Like, not the easiest, but the second easiest. So I could plow through the missions I've already done easier. And I don't think I'm going to bump it back up because I like... this is the problem with these games where, like, this is number 3 of a series and Geralt's supposed to feel like he's a badass already, right? Like, he's a seasoned Witcher. So dying to, like, packs of dogs is kind of terrible. Like, it feels really shitty. But one difficulty less, you just, like, destroy all 5 of them, like, easily, and you're just like, this feels so fucking good. But at the same time, bosses still are hard enough that you have to, like, take your time and do stuff, so it still feels right. I guess what I'm saying is that I think that is the perfect difficulty, like, the second lowest, not the very lowest, where it's just storyline, basically, and you can, like...
So, like, normal instead of easy or whatever?
Yeah, I think it's more, like, very easy, normal, and then hard.
Okay.
Because the easy feels way too easy. Like, it's ridiculous. The easy/normal or whatever, that's the one I would go with because you feel powerful enough that the small minions, like, melt before you, but it's satisfying, and it's still hard enough that you have to think a little bit when the bigger demons and stuff are, like, attacking you, so you still have to be a little bit careful. I think that's the perfect balance. Otherwise... It's kind of like, if you go higher, even, like, the level 2 packs of dogs and stuff will destroy you. Like, you will get the shit kicked out of you.
That just sounds like... I mean, for me, that just sounds kind of exhausting in a game that long, but I guess if you're really into it and just chipping away at it, it'd be good.
That's the thing, too, is that I don't think it would be exhausting if it weren't for the fact that you're never 1v1 in this game. Against stuff, unless, like, even with the bosses, they usually spawn a bunch of, like, little critters or something gross with them. So, like I was saying, the first stuff you encounter are, like, wolves, say, right? And you can encounter anywhere between 3 to 10 in a pack. And fighting 10 wolves at level 1 when you're, like, you haven't been playing this game very long or something, it's fucking terrible. It's the worst. It makes you feel like a piece of shit, but if on a higher difficulty, if that's what you want, I think it would feel right, because, like, I've never fought a pack of 10 wolves in real life, but I'm pretty sure they would kick the shit out of me if I tried to. So,
sure.
If you're good enough, the higher difficulties would probably be way more satisfying, because you would feel way more like a badass, knowing that you could die from anything. But for where I'm at, I'm kind of happy and content with being able to slice and dice my way through like the little stuff and get the storyline and continue on at my own pace. So that's been nice. The weird thing about that game though is that you can run into like really hard shit to kill really easily. I got caught in another point in the second area after I passed where I was in my first playthrough, and one of the missions you get relatively early at that area, you have to fight like a level 28 to 33 monster, and when you get this quest, you are level 4. So if you're not careful, you get stuck in like basically this dark, gross fucking cave thing that you can't get out of until you kill this thing, and you won't. Like, you do not do any damage to it at all, and it one-shots you if it touches you or even looks at you. So it's kind of one of those games where, oh, I fucked up, you have to go back to an earlier autosave, but thank God it autosaves a lot for that purpose.
Yeah.
Other than that, that game's fantastic. It's so fucking good, and I don't know what it is I like about it, because usually I abhor open-world games with a lot of missions, and like I always feel suffocated by them. When you look at a mini-map and you see like 100 little icons you can do, this game is no different. There are a lot of little fucking icons that you can go to, but I've been enjoying the hell out of going to every single one of them, getting a little bit more information on the different like weird creatures and demons and beasts and stuff in this world, and like blowing up nests and stuff with bombs that you can make and doing the alchemy shit. It's all really cool, but I don't know why, because when Assassin's Creed tries to do it, I turn my head in disgust and walk away. In fact, when GTA tries to do it, I turn my head in disgust and walk away. Maybe it's just because I'm actually into this world that I care enough to learn more about it.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I haven't bought it. It's because like the line between an open world game that I will play and one that I just have no interest in is like razor thin. And I don't want to like blowing $60 on something like that. It's a hard prospect for me, because even GTA, which I think is fine, I'm never going to play the story in that game. I'm never going to do anything other than like drive around and fuck around. And this game doesn't have driving, so it doesn't have the thing that made GTA okay with me.
It does. Have you played Red Dead Redemption?
No.
Okay.
I haven't played Red Dead.
Because I was going to ask you, how did you like riding around the horse in that? Because riding around the horse in this is better. And that was one of the things that was good about Red Dead Redemption, like really good. So it's really nice that it's basically that again, but better.
I mean, I'm really I haven't played a Rockstar open world game since 3, really. Vice City I bought and then barely played.
Yeah, fair enough. Man, I don't know though, that game, there's something about it, a je ne sais quoi, that...
I mean, I really liked Dragon Age Inquisition, and I don't really know why that one connected with me, really.
Okay, so what if you took Dragon Age Inquisition and instead of like being able to pause and do tactics, you just had it all action and combo based? How'd that feel, do you think?
I don't know.
With like cooler monsters, arguably, because they're really fucked up, man. Holy shit, like the last thing that I did was something about a botchling. Do you know what a botchling in this universe is?
Nope.
It is a deceased baby, so like an abortion basically gone wrong.
Right. I've heard you have to...
Yeah, that when it's not buried properly, it feeds on the blood of pregnant women until it's strong enough to kill that who threw it away. That is a cool fucking concept, but it's gross at the same time.
It's pretty good.
It's fucking weird.
I don't know. I think it's might be the party stuff in Inquisition that got me over it. Like having those characters bringing with you. I think that's it. It's like the social link stuff that I think does it for me.
Yeah.
Honestly. But I did just like doing all the, I don't know, it was like it, and that was like enough of the hook that then I liked doing like the grind of just doing side quests. Like it was playing it like it was WoW or something.
Sure. Yeah, I could definitely see that. This is a lot less like WoW
Yeah, for sure.
by like a huge margin.
Yeah.
In fact, like the only thing that's kind of like WoW is that you can get swords in it and different types of armor. Everything else is kind of completely different.
Because that's like I don't know that I like third-person action games.
Okay.
Like I don't know that I actually like that kind of gameplay. In terms of, like, I like MMO style stuff. I like third-person shooters. Weirdly, I like third-person shooters more than I like first-person shooters. Really, but
What about like
for single
Bayonetta
player.
and stuff like that?
See, Bayonetta, I just didn't get into it.
Okay. So even like the spectacle, like the hack and
Like I like
slash action
Azura's
RPGs.
Wrath because I just like the spectacle. The thing with Bayonetta was I didn't care about the spectacle with Bayonetta 2, and the combat didn't do it for me. I didn't like how like the way Bayonetta incorporates QuickTime events annoyed me.
Okay.
Whereas I thought Azura's Wrath, at least it was more heavily QuickTime event, but at least put thought into how it was using QuickTime events.
Okay. Fair enough.
Like Bayonetta, it was always mash. It was just mash every time it came up, as opposed to like hitting specific buttons. So it was more
Yeah,
like
I will say the
rhythm-based.
QuickTime events in Bayonetta felt less impactful, or really,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
because
they're garbage because you just mash a button.
I really like the actual fighting in it though, because there are combos and stuff you can do, and those feel pretty good. Like
Yeah,
basically like fighting game combos. It's the same with DMC and the gunplay and stuff like that. Like I really like that stuff. But you're right when it comes to just like mashing the X button as fast as you can to like do your meter. That's not a combo. That's how fast you can push a button.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
I get it.
Bayonetta 2, I didn't finish it, so I wasn't like it was almost a game I could like, but I didn't care about anything. It was like spectacle that I didn't care about, and the combat I didn't like it enough to overcome that.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's like probably the closest I've come to really trying to put time into a third person like character action game in a while. Like, I've just never really been that into them.
Going back to the open world thing.
Yeah.
So this weekend I was asked by two people, like by Ty and then Spart, because they were playing together, to play GTA 5.
Yeah, I was playing with them.
And I basically
I knew
just
not
said,
to ask you. They kept pestering me to ask you. I was like, I know he doesn't want to play.
and
You asked him already.
I basically said, like, I don't usually do this, but I actually just said no. And then, like, I was asked why or whatever, and I was like, because I don't want to. I don't think those games are fun. And this is what I want to say more specifically what I don't think is fun. I don't like going into Arma and trying to, like, do the quests or the missions in it. I don't like going into GTA and doing the heists or doing the, like, stuff that you have to complete, like the challenges or any of the objective stuff. I like going into those games with friends and just fucking around. Like, some of the best times I've had in Arma where when we would all just be together and, like, take over the gun store, get a tank, and drive around and shoot people out of the sky randomly. Like, that stuff is great. But when
Armor's way better at that stuff.
but
Armor's just way better.
It doesn't matter. Either way, when it comes down to it,
Yeah.
I don't want to, like, sneak up on a convoy and then shoot a bunch of NPCs and then take the weapon caches. Like, that shit isn't fun to me. I like the player interaction in these games with friends.
Yeah.
And it seems like when we play now, it's devolved into, like, let's just do stuff for money in Arma or do heists in GTA, and I am so not about either of those at all. The best time I've had in GTA was, like, the day it came out, and you and I were just driving around the city for, like, 2 hours doing dumb shit. That was the best time I've had in that game.
I mean, just my favorite part about GTA is just driving around and your car getting all fucked up and deformed.
Yeah.
Like, the car deformation stuff is what makes that game, like, what makes me interested in it at all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to get away from the cops, and I have no tires. just trying. Just keep going.
So, like, that being said, I do understand they want to do, like, have a reason why they're playing and have, like, objective stuff, and that's totally fine. But if I'm going to be doing objective stuff, I'll do it in a game I actually enjoy that I feel the mechanics are good. Because I don't think the shooting in GTA is good, especially not good enough to, like, have to care about sniping two guys at the same time or something during, like, stealth heist. I don't know. It doesn't feel good to me, and I don't like it. So it was kind of one of those things, like, I could heist with you guys for 2 hours, or I could get more of this awesome story and environment I'm in The Witcher by myself. So I'm going to do that.
Yeah. The heist stuff's just not...
It's not good.
It's not good.
They aren't good.
It's not good.
And as much shit as I will give Payday 2, like, all the time, that game is revolved around doing heists with your friends, and it's way better. It is a way better game, heist-wise, than GTA 5 you can even ever try to be. Ever.
Yeah. GTA 5, like, because there's... The missions are so ripped out of a single-player kind of feel. Like, they're so scripted that there's nothing interesting about them. It's like that fucking jailbreak. Like, you drive in there, and the guards get alerted automatically every time. Like, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
You just fucking... Because just mowing down people in that game isn't fun. Like, yeah.
No, it isn't. So, like, I mean, apologies to you three, I guess. More to them because they were doing it before you jumped in there. And I kind of shunned them, I guess. But, like, I'll gladly play games with people if I'm into them. But I'm not just going to join in on stuff anymore just to play with people because I usually have a bad time. And it's a waste of, like, my time off, basically, to me. If I'm not having 100% fun of doing the stuff I want to do on my, like, few days off a week, then what the fuck am I doing? Like, it's basically like enough. Doing work again. Doing something you don't want to do, right? And it makes you actually hate a video game for no reason. Because I like Arma, and I like GTA 5, but I don't want to be forced to play them in a way I don't want to play them.
Yeah.
That's
fair.
Which is why I kind of stopped doing or caring about ranked mode in Heroes of the Storm. Because I just want to do dumb shit. And I don't care about ranks or finding a 5-stack team or, like, being good. I just want to, like, play murky and jump in somewhere with a bubble or something. Or, like, do some weird hook shots with stitches that'll never work but somehow do once in a while and then you feel awesome. I want to do dumb shit and not have to worry about min-maxing my play. Because if I'm going to do that, I'll play Dota. Because that game is made to actually be good at that stuff. Heroes of the Storm feels more like the game you fuck around in. And when that's gone and people start taking it too seriously, then what the fuck am I doing? Like, I'll play a game that other people take seriously that I should take serious.
Like, I totally agree with you. I don't really... I've still been having fun playing ranked on my own. And I can't really explain why. Okay. But I just have been. And but I'm kind of, like, not into doing it with people. I'm kind of only into, like, doing it on my own and just, like, get into, like, a zone out, put a video on in the background while I play ranked. It's like... It's that kind of... It's like playing ranked has become, like, a podcast game for me.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that, because the few times I have played ranked, I had the most fun just solo queuing and, like, ignoring what my team was saying and playing, and somehow we would still win.
Yeah. Like, that's what I kind of appreciate about Heroes, is that it's so low level. Like, you don't need VoIP, really, honestly, to play it. You just sort of... Once you've played it enough, you get a sense of how the rhythm of matches go. And you just... If people aren't total idiots... Like, I got into a game this week where someone got annoyed, like, 5 minutes in and started sitting in Fountain, which was annoying.
Okay, so the last time I played Heroes was with you that one night,
Yeah.
And I will say that is the first time I've actually felt like physically angry at that game. I felt that way before with Dota, because
Yeah.
Dota is kind of a try-hard game. Like, you have to know how to play, and like you have to know what you're doing with your hero and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I've never felt that way in Heroes of the Storm until that night, and I was just so fucking angry. Not even because it would have been one thing if this dude just AFK'd and then like got disconnected or whatever, and the AI took over and at least laned. But he was popping he was popping in and out frequently enough that it wasn't like flagging him as gone or something.
Yeah.
And that was so fucking irritating. I was so angry. Like, holy shit. I rage quit and logged off for the night. And Heroes has never done that before, and that's when I knew I had to step away from it for a bit.
Yeah.
It got to me. Real bad.
I know. It's crazy to me that someone leaving, like someone just sitting around not doing anything, is so much worse than having the AI. Like, you can deal with the AI because you can ping them and just have them follow you, and it's not that bad. Like they're not the worst.
Even worst case scenario,
but not
with
having
AI.
Someone doing anything,
like soaking
is the worst.
Or something.
Yeah,
or
like,
helping you with a camp.
Like, yeah,
it's
actually the worst.
It is. Ugh. Yeah.
The big benefit to me with Heroes is the games are so short that like I don't have like if someone's being a complete asshole or AFKing in Dota, like, but not disconnecting, like the game goes on for fucking ever. Like the time commitment thing makes such a difference.
If they abandon though, like
if they abandon, yeah, that's different.
Then you can just leave, and it's not a big deal, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, like I wish Heroes had some of that stuff, but there's a lot of stuff I wish Heroes had.
I don't think they ever will, though, because they are trying to cultivate the, like...
No, they don't even... Under reporting, you can't even report people for, like, feeding or AFKing. That's not an option there. It's only for, like, spam, abuse, like, harassment kind of stuff. Like, they don't care if people are just not playing the video game. Only if they're being actively, aggressively hateful.
That's kind of annoying, too. That's kind of the place where all video game, like online video games, have gotten to. Where they don't care if people are breaking the game or the experience for people. They just care about people's feelings. And that bugs me so much. I don't even know why, because I do agree there shouldn't be harassment and people should shut the fuck up and just have fun or whatever. But at the same time, when did everybody's feelings get hurt about fucking everything? Like, when did this start happening? I blame Tumblr specifically, but either way, I just don't think that that has any place in video games when it comes to, like, the higher ups sort of thing. Like, basically, I just want to get back on point here. What I'm talking about is the fact that you're saying the only thing you can report somebody for in Heroes of the Storm is if they hurt your feels, basically, and not if they're ruining the game. That's really annoying. And I don't think that's where priority should lie, first and foremost.
Or they're, like, literally spamming. Like, you can report them for spam. Which doesn't hurt your feelings, it's just annoying.
Well, spam kind of hurts my feelings. A little bit. I cry every night about it.
Because it's like shitty meat.
Yeah, see, you got
like,
it.
You wanted real meat.
I was actually talking about that. I was wondering if you would pick up on it. You know, I've never liked spam. It's really gross. I think it's like the texture, or maybe just the smell when you open one of those cans or something. There's something really, really gross about it. It's fucking dog food for humans, essentially.
It's really easy for canned food to be gross.
Yeah, unless it's like peaches or something, like something that's just fermenting.
Yeah, it's like wet and like gooey.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of... It's easy for that stuff to go bad on you.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Other than that, I downloaded a shitload, and by shitload I think I mean 4 3DS games this weekend.
Cool.
One of them is the Angry Video Game Nerd game, that came out on 3DS. And playing that is like reliving the worst experience of your life again. Because when that game came out, I bought it sight unseen day of and streamed it and beat it on stream that day.
Wow.
And it was the worst. That game is so fucking unfair in so many spots that it's annoying, but fair enough that once you learn about how unfair it is, you can beat it. You just have to work around it. So it's the worst kind of thing where Super Meat Boy always feels fair. This game does not, and that's it's two different difficulties that like they're both just as addictive because you want to prove to yourself you can do it.
Yeah.
But one of them fights you the whole way and the other one just like lets you figure it out. And this one is the type that fights you the whole way. Where even on like an easier difficulty, it just means how many it doesn't make the game easier. It just like gives you less or more continues or lives for a level, and if you run out of those, you have to do the whole level again. The problem is that carries on into the boss fights, which can be really fucking shitty, like really bad. So, other than that, it's been playing great. Like it plays really well on that D-pad and even on the little stick and everything. So that's been cool. The 3D in it's pretty good. I try every game on 3DS with 3D, and I don't know why, it's like a compulsion. The first thing I'll do is put that slider up and see if it'll make a difference. In that game, it kind of does. Like, it does the cool thing that all these 2D platformers do now, where the actual game stuff is up ahead and the background stuff is out into the distance or looks like it. And it works really well, especially for some levels in that game. That game is still just kind of a piece of dog shit in a lot of ways, but I still enjoy it. It's a fun little play here and there.
So it's just like unfair like an NES game, or is it like getting into I want to be the guy territory?
Not I want to be the guy territory. Not nearly that bad.
Okay.
No, like you'll see all the hazards and stuff. They're just in asshole spots that you have to do sometimes pixel perfect jumps and like good timing and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, whereas Super Meat Boy would be like you can see basically the whole level or something, and then you just kind of figure out how you're going to do it and then do it.
Yeah.
This is more like you'll jump down into an area and die instantly because you should have not jumped out that far or something.
Yeah.
So, like, it does fight you with it.
But it's like that specific trial and error gameplay where you don't know what's coming.
Right.
So you have to just do it over and over again.
Which is why the easier difficulties are usually better, because it doesn't change how the game plays. It just gives you more lives and is more lenient that way.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of one of those things that if you were like a speedrunner for this game, you would know the levels so well. You could do it on hard because you could do it. Like, the hardest difficulty is I don't think you can die at all. Like, you have to start from the beginning every time you die. It's a game over.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's totally fine. There's no timer ticking down or anything. You can take as much time as you want. There's just some really asshole spots in that game. But I don't know. I've always kind of liked angry video game nerd humor, even though it's the humor of a 6-year-old. But there's still something kind of like a weird naivete behind it that feels like natural.
Yeah, he feels his stuff is genuine.
Like, he's just so angry that he says all these stupid poop jokes. Like, it feels like a genuine, like, angry gamer sort of thing. Maybe not so much now, but definitely back in the day. Like, for sure. And it turned into a character, obviously.
Yeah.
The little cameos and stuff in that game are kind of cute. Like, different, like, not Matt Pat, what the fuck is his name? Pat the NES punk is, like, hanging out there. The Game Grumps are hanging out there. Like, and they don't even really do anything. You just meet up with them and they say, hey. Like, they're just dumb little things like that, which are kind of great.
Yeah.
And then there's, like, the unlockable characters and that have different abilities and whatnot, and that's great. Secret areas, all that sort of thing. Anything you would expect from a retro style, like, NES Massacre platforming shooter type thing, like a Contra with platforming. But, more importantly, it just plays really well. Like, it plays better than it did when I played it on Steam, because on Steam I was using an Xbox 360 controller, and that D-pad is fucking garbage. And it made
That
me
sucks.
realize that even though they have the patent on it, I'm glad they do, because Nintendo still has the best D-pad ever. It's still the best. Like, it just feels good. And I don't know if that's because I grew up with an NES, so I'm used to just, like, the barely analog, like, just 4-way that you can kind of, like, force to do 8-way if you push the buttons properly, sort of thing.
It's the best D-pad.
It is the best D-pad.
Easily.
Yeah, so playing that game again on the best D-pad has been nice. Other than that, I started Phoenix Wright today. First time ever, man. Woo!
Nice!
Have you ever played it?
I've played the first game, which I played after seeing the live-action movie,
Okay.
which is the entire plot of the first game.
Okay. So I worked my way through the first... Like, I was at work, so I wasn't able to get a whole lot of FaceTime with it yet. I
Yeah.
worked my way through the first case, and I really, really love how it's presented. Like, a lot.
Yeah.
I really, really fucking hate butts.
Fair enough.
That guy is a piece of shit, but every time he started crying, I was just like, I can relate, bro. I get it. Like, I fell for him, and that's why I think he's a piece of shit. Every time you just scream objection or something, it just feels so good.
It just feels good.
It feels really fucking good.
It's true.
Because, like, the dude's... So, I guess spoilers or whatever for the first ever trial in the Phoenix Wright game, even though I am the last person on the internet to play it. But
And I think you can, like, in, like, the fucking iOS versions of that game, I think the first trial is the free part, so if anyone cared, they could literally just play that.
yeah, no, exactly. So, spoilers for that. But when you, like, realize this dude that you're talking to on the stand is lying, and every time he says, like, a line, and you're like, objection, you're just like, yeah, fucking yeah. Just like, how did you know that was a clock? I thought you said you weren't in there. Oh, you motherfucker, I'm gonna nail you. And then he almost gets away, and then your person's like, no, think outside the box. You're like, wait a minute. And then you think about it, then it works, and you're just like, I'm the smartest fucking lawyer ever. And then you realize you are in a shitty job that is going nowhere while playing this. And then you feel worse about yourself. But for that moment, you are the ace attorney, and it's so fucking good. And I can't wait until that shit goes off the hook, because I bought the trilogy. So
Yeah.
I will be playing all of it at some point, but it'll be slow. Like, I'm kind of happy just taking it maybe every day, or like a mission or two, or a case or two, and I think that'll be okay. It's way more anime than I was ready for. Like, it is way more... I thought it would be a little
really-
bit more self-serious. No, man. It's so anime.
It is complete
Yeah.
silliness.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm really excited. And that is the first time I've had a reason to open up my 3DS regularly in a long time. And I am super stoked about it. Like, I am really fucking excited to see more of that game.
Yeah. It's one of those things that's like the idea that, like, adventure games were gone. It's like they weren't gone. Like, Phoenix Wright existed. Like, that was around.
Yeah, but I'm the last one to play it, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know, Internet.
I still need to play more of them, because I have Trilogy and the new one for 3DS, because they were on sale at some point. Not that long ago. So I have both those on my 3DS, but I haven't played. I haven't played any more than that first one. I think I played it on the Wii. I think on the Wii, when you go objection, you've, like, playing the Wiimote forward, like, point, and
So,
to do the objections, which
does
is
it
hilarious.
use your microphone on the 3DS version?
I don't know. I think
Because,
it
like,
should.
you hold the button, and then I think you're
Yeah.
supposed to speak, but I was at
Yeah.
work, so I couldn't, so I just used the tap screen to, like, automatically do it.
Usually you can just, with any microphone thing, usually you can just blow into it slightly, and that usually works anyway, if you're...
I really wish I had a capture unit, because I would totally stream that game. And just be like, objection into it every single time.
Yeah.
It would feel so
Yeah.
good. But
I'm pretty sure it should, because I think the DS versions did.
I'm really happy with that purchase so far. Like, I'm super stoked about it, and yeah, I haven't felt that way in a long time since Hotel Dusk, and that game was real good. It made me realize I actually really like visual novels. I just can't play them a lot because I will kill myself if I do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason I haven't played the other one since I played the first one, even though I loved it. It's like, I'm only in the mood for that kind of thing so often. But yeah, they're really good. And I really recommend that fucking movie. It's a really good movie.
I do want to watch it. I kind of want to get through the first game.
Yes, you should finish the first game.
Okay, so I'm opening my DS here because I kind of forgot the other things I downloaded. I got the Humble Bundle. That's why I have a bunch of stuff downloaded. So I played Ollie Ollie on here, and it plays exactly like Ollie Ollie does on every single other thing that's ever been released on, so that's fine. I got really into SteamWorld Dig for like 3 hours, and I don't know why, because that game is kind of really boring. Have you played any of it?
No, but
Okay.
I when I looked at it as something like, wow, if I played that, I would probably sink hours into it and then wonder what I was doing with my life and never touch it again.
Dude, yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know what this game's like, think like a Metroidvania, only instead of like progressing through different things and getting new items, you are literally just digging in a cave for minerals and stuff to sell and shit like that. It is really fucking weird, but addictive in a weird way as well. It's kind of like this must be how the Minecraft people feel, like, that are really into Minecraft and playing the survival mode, where like you find like where there's a bunch of deposits of stuff and then you mine them with your legit axe and then you build your little house and stuff. That's exactly what this is, only in a 2D platformer. And it is monotonous as hell, but I don't think that I played this game while listening to like a bunch of Game Grumps stuff.
Yeah,
And that's, I think, exactly what this game is made for. It is very much just a podcast game because it's the same monotonous thing over and over with small incremental upgrades to make it a little bit easier each time. So it's
like just enough of a carrot that if you're
it's the
playing
carrot
it,
on
you
the
just
stick.
keep playing it. But like not necessarily enough to like bring you back to it, but enough like when you're playing it and you're in the zone to just keep going.
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about that. I think it's kind of gross and exploitative for what it's trying to do, just with the carrot on the stick with no real gain or like story even. Like there's nothing
But
really
it's just
going on.
about just if you want to dig, man. Sometimes you just got to dig a hole. Sometimes you just got to dig a hole.
I wholeheartedly disagree because I have Phoenix right now.
Ah.
So like I guess my thing is that you can just dig a hole, but there is a world full of stuff out there you haven't seen yet that you should probably get to first.
Yeah, but sometimes you have needs that cannot be served by good content.
Yeah. Which is why I also bought Demon King Box.
Okay.
So, straight up, bought because boobs, anime boobs.
Nice.
And it actually turned out to be pretty fun. So, this is a game that is kind of like a battle RPG thing where you think almost like Pokemon, basically. Like, you collect different dudes you can send into battle, and they're in 3 lines. And you kind of like tap the line or like drag which monster or like minion you want to send into that line. And then they go, say like, well, they always go from left to right. And the enemy you're fighting is on the right. And they're sending stuff from right to left. So you have to kind of like, it's almost like a weird diner dash or something where instead of picking up plates, you are sending minions and trying to overpower your enemy's minions on that line of battle.
Like, what is it called? Sword and Shield? It was like a 2D RTS.
2D RTS. Okay. I'm going to look it up because I don't know at all. And the only thing that comes up when I look up Sword and Shield is Monster Hunter 3. So that's great.
Let me see.
I hate video games with titles that are impossible to Google.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
But, like, maybe. Do you level them up by groping their anime boobs? No, and I think that works against this game in every way. what I like about it though is it does have. I like games where you collect things and like can level them up. So it's basically like a weird anime Pokemon like war simulator or something with like anime demons and like I don't know, man. I'll see if I can. This is not going to make any sense to people listening audio wise, but I'm going to load up something here and I can give you a video example of what it looks like. If people are listening to this and they want to know, just look up Demon King Box or whatever. I'm pretty sure you'll find a YouTube video of it and you can see kind of what I'm talking about. Anyways, it was a random buy. Like, I had some leftover money in my wallet on the eShop, and I saw it sitting there. So I was kind of stoked about it. And honestly, for what it is, just like something I can play on the bus and not really think about it, it's been pretty great. I really like the art style, too. A lot.
Cool. Swords and Soldiers was the name of the game I was thinking of.
Swords and Soldiers. All right. I will definitely have to look that up. I'll see if I can get into a battle here quickly. I know this is great radio, but
come on. I love visual radio. Visual podcaster radio is the best.
Visual radio is the best. Okay, start the game. I really like that your like first general or dude that you have is just like this weird pig monster too. It's pretty great. So, I'm going to have to put up my thing here. So on the top screen, you have the play area, basically.
Yeah.
And you can scroll like left to right to see where your minions are. On the bottom are the 3 lanes, and you can see the red ones coming towards me. Those are enemies.
Oh, okay.
And like this is really hard to do without being able to see. You tap on like where you want to send a thing, and that's where the minions will start fighting and meet up. So you kind of want to. It's like a tug war. You want to overpower the lane and push a certain amount of your enemies to the end to like beat them.
It reminds me of some of those Warcraft 3 custom maps.
Sure.
Like Line Wars or.
Sure. But I've been having fun with it. I kind of like the 3DS has slowly evolved. Actually, it made a huge step today with Phoenix Wright, but it slowly is evolving from my NES Pocket Machine, because I play basically only my Mega Man games on it, to now like a mobile device gaming rig where this game I'm talking about is something you would see on your mobile phone. It just straight up is. Like, it's very basic. But with Phoenix Wright now, it is becoming a thing I'm starting to respect more, because I really am loving I really like courtroom dramas. It's the reason why. Do you remember Boston Legal? It was like
Boston Legal.
It was one of my favorite shows ever.
Good show.
And there was another one I can't remember the name of. I mean, the Law and Order shows are consistently my favorite shows on TV, even still.
Yeah.
So I really, really like courtroom dramas, and that is exactly what this is to the nth degree, Phoenix Wright. And I'm really stoked about it. I'm so fucking happy about it. I'm so glad I bought it. And I feel so bad that I kind of dismissed everybody as just weeaboo fucktards.
For years.
Honestly, yeah. Ever since people started talking about Phoenix Wright, I'm like, it can't be that good. Dude, it is that good. It's real good. And I am so sorry. I'm so fucking sorry to everybody that it took me this long. That being said, like, I like puzzle games a lot too. I've never been huge into Professor Layton. If I keep going on this high that I have right now from Phoenix Wright, I will probably buy that crossover to try it just for like that.
Yeah, I still want to check that out, but mostly because I want to play more Phoenix Wright first.
Yeah, and then there's like the Miles whatever dude as well.
Yes, Miles Edgeworth game.
Yeah, and then there's those games that Sean didn't even know about that I found out about, the Investigations games or whatever. So there's a lot of Phoenix Wright I have to bite down into, but we'll get there. And then 999 at some point in VLR, and Ghost Trick, and oh my fucking god, like there's too many. But
I know. 999 is also on my list.
Oh, you haven't played it yet?
No, that's on my list of games to play.
I almost bought Persona Q as well because it is consistently one of the only like RPG games for the 3DS that is in stock in places around me. Mm-hmm. It's really weird how few games there are. I can't download anything anymore because I'm at the point now where by getting the new 3DS, I gave the old 3DS away, so I kind of have to buy cartridges now to do hand-me-downs, so when I'm done a game, she can play a game. Mm-hmm. And also, I have no fucking space, because I downloaded way too many things, including the Monster Hunter 4 demo, and I feel really bad for saying this, but that game plays totally fine and is pretty fun on the 3DS, even though...
On the new one?
Yeah, even though I gave certain people shit about it, probably nonstop.
Well, I gave a lot of shit because I actually played that demo and on the old 3DS and really did not have a good time.
So when I tweeted that, one of the things, like, Peter messaged me basically right away and said, would you say the stick makes a difference? And I said, it's the only way I could play it. Because I did try the Monster Hunter 3, I think, demo back in the other 3DS. That game's fucking unplayable without that little nub. And even then, the nub's not great, but being able to control your camera changes that game in a huge way. Like being able to control it properly. Because those monsters will dash past you, you will run past them, sometimes trying to get a good attack in, and you have to like turn to see what's going on, or things will be attacking you from behind or the side. So having actual control of what you can see on the screen makes that game playable in a way it wasn't before.
Yeah.
And I might buy it.
Because, like, there was the game that not having a camera just completely broke the game for me, and it was fucking Shin Megami Tensei 4, which is just an RPG, but the parts where you were, like, walking around in a 3D dungeon, it does the thing where, like, there aren't random battles, there are, like, actual things that you run into.
Uh-huh.
So not being able to see them when I was walking around, it fucking infuriated me. Like, I couldn't deal with it. And that game doesn't even, I don't even think it supports, like, the second stick, which just fucking drives me nuts.
Another thing was, on the other 3DS, I downloaded the demo for Snake Eater, and I have played that game through multiple times. I couldn't get past the first 5 minutes without control of the camera. So, this nub on the new 3DS, like the little stick or whatever, fucking sucks ass, but I think it is the most important step they've ever made in handheld gaming for a Nintendo product. Next to the backlight. It was really bad when they didn't have a backlight back in the DS days. Holy shit.
I didn't buy it. Advanced, a Nintendo handheld past the original Game Boy until they introduced the SP.
The SP is still kind of cool looking to me.
I think it's probably... Like, in my head, it's kind of it's the best handheld. Because it's, like, the exact right size to do what it needs to do.
I still think that...
One-handed gaming, man.
I really liked the brick back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So I still really don't like the... Holy shit. What we were just talking about.
The SP?
Yeah. I really don't like the SP being, like, basically a little square for the buttons. That's just... It's a personal thing, honestly. Like, it plays fine. It just feels weird to me. But, that is still one of the best things that's the biggest upgrade I think they've ever made to their handheld devices.
Yeah.
Until,
just
like,
that
3D.
It was A, backlighting, and B, that was the first one that was just rechargeable battery installed.
Yeah.
That up to that point you had to fucking buy batteries. It was like an automatic upgrade, because like, I can just, even if I just want to play old Game Boy games, I'll just save money on batteries.
Yeah.
And it plays all the old, it like plays everything for that they had made up to that point.
Yeah.
This is a fucking incredible thing.
I really like that you just close it and put it in your pocket.
Yeah.
Because, like, this thing I can put in my pocket, but it's
But-
fucking huge.
It's fucking huge.
Like, I'm just trying to think. The SP was, I would say, about half the size.
Yeah, something like that.
It was a bit thicker, though. I do remember the SP being kind of thick. Because the handheld systems these days, actually, for like how powerful they are
Yeah.
pretty thin.
They are. I'm trying to see if I can
It
find my
kind of
SP.
had to be thick, though. Because the
Yeah.
game cartridges were... Like, it's the same reason why the DS Lite was kind of thick, even though, like, they had already started doing the little carts, is because since it played the GBA carts, it had to be able to hold them in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, about half the size, but maybe, like... I don't know. I would say maybe half an inch, a little bit less, thicker. I think that's a good trade-off, though.
Something like that, yeah.
I would rather have something smaller and thicker in my pocket, if you know what
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I mean. You're still looking for your SP.
It's down there somewhere, whatever.
But,
I give up.
that's kind of all I've been doing. Like, other than that, I've been spending a lot of time trying to get podcasts that all had a different problem with them put together. I mean, I guess I can quickly just run down why it took so long. First one, wouldn't export properly. Second one, because there was a huge drop, and it created two files, had a split in it that I couldn't get to reconcile, and then I just said fuck it and threw together anyways at a point where it seemed like it would be appropriate. And
Yeah.
the third one, what was the problem with the third one? The audio quality was fucked because we used QQ.
Yeah.
And I tried to do some audio magic to it. It barely worked, if at all, so apologies if that's unlistenable to you, because as people know, I have problems with, like, sound problems. So, trust me, it bugged me a hell of a lot more than it's bugging you. But there's a point where you have to realize, I do not get paid to do this. Fuck it. And then you do it anyway.
At some point, you just have to say, I've done all I can.
Yeah, exactly.
Done all I can.
We had some good talks on that last one, too, so I did want to keep it up for posterity, for people to listen to if they wanted to. That being said, I understand if it's not up to a quality people enjoy, because it wasn't up to a quality I enjoy putting out. But, like I said, sometimes you just have to. It's the same problem I had with that Lucas Pope episode, where the recording went fucked, but it was such a good conversation that I had to keep it.
Yeah.
You know? It's really too bad, too. Redundancy is the way you have to go for everything. So that's kind of why there's a redundancy now. We're doing it the way we do TDP, and that usually seems to work out fine. So I'm excited about that.
Yep.
Maybe you should make a Patreon like every other fucking podcast does. I will never do that. Because, like, I will never do a Patreon for a podcast. If I did a Patreon, it would be for something that was actually worth money. Conversations should never be worth like behind a paywall. Actual content, I could see it, like doing like a video series or something where you put a lot of time into it. Having a conversation with friends that people want to listen to, I'm just thankful people are listening to it, because, like, why would you? But there's so many podcasts out there. I think
True,
there's a
there
weird
are.
audacity behind saying you should pay us for, like, special content, behind the scenes podcasts or something. It's like, no, motherfucker. I just want to listen to you talk. That should be enough. Your time is enough, honestly. That's how I view it, though.
I'm fine with it I'm not like, if they put out the podcast for free, but also have to have a freaking Patreon, whatever. It doesn't bother me.
I honestly would prefer ads in a podcast, like people doing sponsorship deals and stuff like that. I really don't mind it, and I don't know why, because I know a lot of people hate when, like, the conversation stops to say, like, go to Crunchyroll or something like that. But I don't know, there's something about it that feels more genuine to me, where, like, there's a sponsor that feels enough about you that, like, they are paying you to say something about their product. I don't know, maybe it's just like an old mindset. I don't like taking money from people who you're producing content for. That's weird to me. That's kind of why I like the YouTube model a lot, because you are getting, and the Twitch model, you are getting paid on ad revenue, and people can choose to subscribe for money on Twitch if they want to, and that's totally fine, because you're actually supporting Twitch more than you're supporting, like, that person. They're getting a kind of measly profit from it, really, but it's still more than you get from YouTube videos.
It's mostly it's mostly the same to me, honestly. It's all different variations. I mean, I don't. It's always a bad idea to put your content actually behind a paywall,
yes,
where people can't access it. Like, that just seems dumb because you want people to see it. Like, that's the whole idea. But
yeah, I don't particularly like the idea of donation stuff either, but I can totally see why people do it, because this was relayed to me, like, through somebody. Basically, they were saying, like, I can't tell you exact numbers because I don't know. And this wasn't John, by the way, because I know people are going to jump to that. John and I don't talk with numbers because that would be weird. So it was somebody else. And they were saying, basically think of it like this way. Somebody subscribing to somebody on Twitch for $5, even at, like, the percentage they get of it, not the whole 5, is equivalent to, like, 500 to 1,000 ad views on YouTube.
yeah.
And so a donation for $10 that they get all of is, like, the equivalent of a solid, like, couple 100,000 on, like, it's fucking weird how that shit works. Which is why most YouTubers aren't as rich, I think, as some people think they are, unless they are PewDiePie. That guy's confirmed wealthy. Like, let's not get too, like, lackadaisical about this. That dude rich. That dude is fucking rich. But, yeah, I don't know. What have you been doing? We haven't really talked this weekend, so.
Yeah. So, I mean, I played a tiny bit of GTA with Spartan Ty. That was mostly in airtime. Cujo was in the TeamSpeak with us, so that was
How
really
pissed off were they that I was just like, nah, dog?
I mean, they couldn't get over it. Like, we were doing the heist with a random who was fucking fine. Like, he wasn't the problem while we were failing.
Yeah.
But, like, in their minds, it would all be good if you were there. No, it would actually. It
probably would have been.
It would all be good if I would just ask you to join. That was the thing. It wasn't even necessarily you being there. It was if I asked you to join, you would join.
Let's set this record straight now.
You had already said it.
Had you asked, I would have said, "No, man, I already told Spart no."
Yes, I knew that. Like, I knew that was what you would say. That's why I didn't bother asking.
That is exactly what I would have said. I would have been like, "No, I already was asked. Sorry."
Yeah,
and then I would have kept playing my Witcher game. So, setting the record straight, it wouldn't have happened even if you asked. So,
yeah.
But other than that, it was okay.
Having Cujo in the call, making fun of Spartan. That stuff, that was fun. Doing, like, the mission, is not great.
Spartan's a really good sport, I have to say. He gets shit on a lot, and he takes it in stride most of the time. There are some times I've seen him kind of get, like, pissy about it or snap, but of course, because it is kind of relentless sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but, like, that dude's a cool cat. I gotta give him props.
Yeah. So that last heist that we were doing, they put Trevor in it.
Okay.
He's, like, the one giving you the mission. They completely overrode him. Like, it is try hard. Like, it doesn't feel natural. Like, the dialogue and stuff they give him is way too much. Like, he's, like, dialed up to 11. It's really obnoxious.
Yeah. That doesn't sound good.
And we were on a mission where we were, like, collecting garbage bags, and then, like, mobs of enemies would come and I kept getting, like, shot from somewhere. It got boring and annoying, as GTA fucking heists will do.
Meowth says, I'd follow him on Twitter, but he probably wouldn't follow back because he's Spart. She's right. He's kind of got an ego. That sounds terrible. Like, what you're describing.
Yeah, that was the one we got stuck on. I don't even remember what the other ones were we did before that. They were fine. but it was that one we got stuck on. It was really boring. But it kind of made me think like they should have just put in missions where you just play as a garbage collector and do like collect garbage like as a job in this game. It'd be stupid and no one would do it, but it should be in here.
I would do it. Why wouldn't you? That would be the best podcast game.
It would be. Like, because that would be more appealing than, like, to earn money in GTA Online by being a garbage man or, like, being a taxi driver or bus driver instead of doing those fucking garbage missions, like the deathmatch stuff. Just terrible.
You know how I found fun in GTA 5 when I installed it when it came out on PC and I installed it and you have to play a certain amount of the story mode to get stuff?
Yeah.
The way I found fun in that game is by following traffic rules and regulations, stopping at red lights and like listening to music and then going when appropriate and trying to park right and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
By following the rules, I was having fun in that game. That's how boring I feel that game is with objectives.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like the objective. I've never liked objective stuff in GTA. I played GTA 1 and 3 like just as open world driving around shooting people, put on cheat codes so everyone wants to kill me sometimes. Give all the old ladies rocket launchers and flamethrowers.
It was a good time.
Dumb shit. Like I've never liked the structure to the GTA games.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't either. But glad you had fun doing heists, I guess, even though it doesn't sound like it went very well.
I mean, I'm basically, my tolerance for whatever I'm doing is higher if I'm hanging out with people and just chatting. So.
Sure. Yeah.
So that was what made me do that.
Cool.
I've been playing some more Devil Survivor, still on the same day. Like that last day, or seventh day or whatever. There are a lot of like boss fight type stuff, so it's getting progressively more difficult.
Uh-huh.
And I'm probably going to have to grind out levels, which I've been trying to avoid.
So it's an RPG at the end of the day. Go figure.
It is an RPG.
Go figure.
It's an RPG.
Yeah. Well, once you get those levels grinded, though.
In the end, yeah, I'm in the end game.
Okay.
Like,
cool.
I only grinded a very little bit at the beginning, and then was okay for a long time.
Still excited about it, though?
It's a really good game. I'm not super like becoming the Messiah, and isn't a particularly appealing story thread, but I'm invested enough in the world and the characters that I want to get through it and then play through it again. Because New Game Plus mode, then you can just sort of fly through most of the story because your demon stuff carries over.
Sure.
So it gets less of a. It's just cool.
Sure.
But yeah. So that happened. I played Heroes of the Storm. I don't have anything else to talk about it.
Yeah.
I didn't play that as much as I've been playing. Honestly, I guess we played some on after. When the tournament was supposed to start, we played a bit.
I feel bad because I felt like everybody still wanted to play, and I didn't.
Yeah.
Like, I was in to do, like, a tournament thing and see how we would rank and do that sort of thing. But, like, when the actual structure to, like, I feel like I should or have to play fell apart, I was just like, I'm gonna do anything else right now. I've fallen so hard off that game, and it's not because it's a bad game or I don't like playing it, because I do like playing it, and I think it's really well made.
Yeah.
I'm hitting my slump in it, and it
doesn't...
No,
that's totally fair. I'm pretty sure most of the people we were playing with are gonna... Some people are gonna drop off now that date has passed. It's just we were around, and we had some fun. Just playing some games, but I fully expect less people to be playing that game now.
It doesn't help that there's like games out now that are really vying for my attention a lot. So
yeah.
There's that as well. There's this weird thing when you do like this podcast and TDP and stuff where you feel like you have to try new stuff to be able to talk about what's out.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing. So it's like every week I'm trying to see what like something I could dig my teeth into and really enjoy is out. but I just keep going back to The Witcher lately, so that's kind of the thing. Also, Meowth is saying, Paul, I learned that Heroes of the Storm streams are so boring. She's totally right. They are. And that is why I no longer stream it at all.
Yeah. Chew 8 is the only one I find watchable, really.
Mm-hmm.
But he plays that game right. He just does dumb stuff.
That's the way you play that game.
At least he's like always having fun. Like he's always laughing and finding ways to entertain himself. So that makes a big difference.
Honestly, I was thinking if there's like a MOBA I start playing a little bit more and actually stream, it'll be League of Legends, probably. Because every time I play it, I really like a lot of stuff about it. Because it is easier than Dota, just straight up. And it's fresh still, because I don't know every character and what they do, so there's kind of that feeling of you're learning the game sort of thing. And it doesn't hurt that we're friends with somebody who can literally just win the game when we want to finish. If we want, basically, that helps a lot. The games aren't as long as a Dota game, generally. I don't know. There's a lot of things that
I feel like when we were playing with Gujo, those games lasted forever.
He's okay.
Just because he was sitting in the jungle farming.
Real talk, he's got to stop doing that and just fuck around like we used to, because that was way funner, doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
But
those games were lasting too long the last time, a couple times.
That's a game I don't find fun to watch either. But I don't even find Dota that fun to watch anymore. I don't really... This is a weird thing that I've come to realize. I've started liking less and less watching video games get played, because it just makes me want to play them. Like, I just want to do the playing. So, it's kind of weird to me that there's still this culture where a lot of people will watch games rather than play it, because I'm starting to revert back to the way I was, like, in high school and stuff, where if I see somebody playing, I would rather just take the controller from them and play it myself.
See, as a kid who didn't grow up with a system of his own till like late PlayStation era, I spent a lot of time watching friends play Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
So I just like watching people play games. And there are a lot of games that I find interesting to like think about and talk about that I don't really like playing if I'm by myself. Like character action games. Like I just don't like. I can watch a stream, I can watch people play them, and they're interesting. Yeah, but I don't really have the interest in playing them. So I have a greater interest in watching games than some people might. I've just always kind of enjoyed watching people play stuff.
I think from the little a bit. So I've actually never seen how D4 played. I've only ever seen screenshots. And playing like the little intro part, that's the only part I could play on the PC version before it would crash and lock up my computer to shit. Yeah. I really don't think I'll enjoy playing it. So I think that is a game I will be more than happy to just watch. I think I've made that decision. I also have $30 in my Steam wallet because I refunded it. That Steam refund program works like a charm, by the way. Within an hour, I had it.
Wow, cool.
So that worked really well.
Like The Evil Within, I enjoyed watching that. I would not have had a good time if I was playing that by myself.
The problem with The Evil Within is that it actually plays kind of okay. It's just that your character sucks and gets out of breath. Like, there's stuff in it that makes it hard to play, but not in a fun way. But mechanically, it's still like a Resident Evil 5 or 4. Like, it shoots fine, you move around fine. It's just the little intricacies they try to throw in that really make it suck ass.
There's a lot of bad design choices.
There's a lot of bad design choices.
Particularly in the later half, where you're just like in turret sections and force scrolling shooting galleries.
Yeah,
where you're like on an elevate, like a construction thing, just moving across, and there are people popping out, just shooting them. It's bad.
I think I might just watch the rest of that game. I feel like I've played enough of it to feel like how it plays. So I'm okay knowing that mechanically it's okay. In most ways it's meh, though. So it might be something I'd just throw on in the background. Meowth brings up a thing. Did you see the Game Grumps are doing WoW now? I did, and I know that started today, and I'm super excited to see it. But I haven't watched it yet. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. You know who Ross is, right?
Ross.
Rubber Ninja, he was an animator as well. He's the Australian
Okay.
that's like friends with him. Anyways, he's into WoW, or was, or still is, I don't know, but he's always been into the lore of Warcraft, to the point where they did a Let's Play of Warcraft 3 and he was actually talking about the lore a little bit, and it gave me this huge new respect for him. But more importantly, they started doing this show this week called Guild Grumps or something, and they're shooting it like a reality show where he has to get the 5 of them to, like, all of them are going to be leveling up from 90 to 100 within 5 days. And I'm super excited to see how this goes, because I know Aaron hates MMOs. I don't know what Susie thinks, and I think the other ones just kind of never really bothered. So it could be really, really fucking bad. And I'm kind of excited.
Do enjoy watching people play games they hate.
Or like don't know enough to like play it efficiently or something. That's kind of a moment in time you can never get back, though. The first time you turn on WoW and there's this huge expansive world and you don't really know what you're doing, and you kind of learn bit by bit as you go. Because now it's like, if I want to create an alt, I will get to level 30 within a play session, because I know efficiently the like path to do it in. And it loses kind of its like magic behind it when you just see it as a video game and not a world.
Like, there's also the lack of magic because they redid all the questline stuff. It's not like it's it's not as much a nostalgia trip as it could be.
Yeah.
Which is good because it's way faster, though, the changes. But
I've been having fun in that game recently. Oh, like, I guess I could talk about this, because I'm not going to bring it up on TDP, and nobody else will appreciate this. So what I did is I bought the Vial of Sands or whatever. For anybody who doesn't know what this is, it is an alchemy item that when you take it, you can mount up, but your mount, you turn into a dragon instead of mounting on a dragon. So my main character now has this. I guess it's probably account-wide, so they probably all do.
Yeah, probably.
But
yeah, I'm sure the way the mounts work.
Because all mounts are, So basically, I've been going to low-level zones as a dragon, waving to people and asking if they need a ride somewhere, and just like seeing if there's anybody I can taxi around. So that is what that game is to me now. It is Taxi Simulator 2015.
Dragon Taxi.
And it's let me re-see some of the places I, like, this is a weird thing to say, grew up in that game. Like going back to the wetlands, or to Loch Modan, or to like the Burning Steppes and all these other places that are completely different because Deathwing ripped that world apart and now everything's underwater or broken.
Yeah.
Which is really too bad. But yeah, so you know what? One day, I think, maybe this weekend, there's just going to be a stream of me playing Taxi in that game for like 3 hours. Just meet up with random people. But yeah, that's what it does, is that you turn into the mount and you control it, but people can mount you. Like, they can jump on your back and you can take them for rides. So that's what the most important thing was to me, was to be able to be a taxi service on my Paladin for whatever reason. But that's been really fun. And
also, you get to be a dragon, which is cool.
It is pretty cool, just like floating down onto, I'm trying to remember, like in Silver Pine Forest, there's that instance I can't remember the name of right now.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, just like going there and like waving at random people, or like going to and seeing Horde like that are like literally 70 to 80 levels below me, and just like watching them run away in fear when this dragon pops down and waves at them. It's pretty great. It's been so fucking good. So, I don't know, man. Like, that's why I was saying that's not something I can really talk about on TDP, because it's not really, I've been playing the game. I've been having fun in a stupid way in the game that I grew up with. But, I thought you might appreciate that little story of what I've been doing in my off time.
It's a good story.
I should start charging people for rides, though, because I realize I can get people places as a dragon way faster than they can on a griffin mount. Like, it is fucking insane.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, maybe I'll start charging. What else have you been doing?
So I started playing Massive Chalice for real.
That game looks boring. I'm sorry, it does. But go ahead and explain what Massive Chalice is.
So it's like at its core, it's like XCOM, but in a fantasy setting, kind of.
With no character.
No, it has more character, I would say, than XCOM.
Well, I mean, everything has more character than XCOM. XCOM is literally shoot the alien game.
Yeah. It also has less jank than XCOM, which is cool. Because
Okay.
that last XCOM game was pretty janky, and this has been surprisingly stable.
Okay.
I haven't had any bugs or glitches or anything.
Okay.
But
Cool.
like the big problem I have with XCOM is that once your characters get strong, like it become like you get into the later game. If you lose them, it's sort of coming back from that is a fucking pain in the ass, and or they become so strong that the game becomes boring because they're too powerful because they've leveled up because the game has to be balanced for the possibility of losing stuff.
Sure.
So the game quickly like runs it like you get into a groove with it and it stops being interesting. Whereas early on is like the hardest part where you're really struggling. So the thing that Massive Chalice adds that makes a huge difference is your characters have age. So as time passes, as you like spin, like you let time go, with XCOM was you're like waiting for the next attack. It's a more defensive kind of thing.
Yeah.
Your characters will age in along with that too. So they have like different periods of their life. So they'll be like they start as babies. They have like a kid model, a young adult model, an adult model, and an elderly model. And so they'll run through that, and then they'll eventually die. So basically, every character you have will eventually die.
We all
So
eventually die, Hank.
Yes, exactly.
We're all
But
worm food.
they become more of like a resource because you need people for everything. You need people, so you have to set up specific people to form bloodlines so that they're like having babies and then training kids. You need a person that's like, you need people doing your research who are out of combat because they're busy doing that. They dedicate their lives to that. So all you're like using humans as resources instead of just having this team. So it's a more dynamic thing. There's a lot of neat touches with like characters having specific like models and animations for what roles they're in and stuff. And then the combat is more interesting than XCOM because it's not all cover-based shooter, turn-based stuff like XCOM is.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have 3 main classes that then, with interbreeding or between different classes, there are variations on them. So there's like the main, like the tank character is like a caperjack who has like a big wooden like battering ram kind of thing. And then there's the alchemist who throws a limited number per map of bombs. And there's the hunter who is like ranged and can stealth. And then there are variations on each class. Like there's the enforcer who's like a hunter who has caperjack abilities also built in. Because as each character levels up, they get certain skills.
Right.
So then they do an interesting thing with stealth where stealth doesn't matter. It's not about cover necessarily. Like sight lines matter, but if you're in stealth, it's just you're standing next to something tall and you just sort of blend into it and go invisible. So that's an interesting touch. But it's tactics based combat, which I like. Like I like the tactics style stuff.
I was going to ask for somebody who has said before that I really like how like tactics based stuff is, but don't have the patience for a lot of the stuff they do with it, like other games. Mm-hmm. How would this rate? Like how long will you be stuck in like a battle for say or? Because I felt like sometimes in like XCOM or whatever, it would just be like there was nothing but like a battle for like half an hour to 40 minutes if I wanted to do it properly, and that got tiresome to me. Is it like the same like that? Like maybe too outstretched?
It does have that thing where there are enemies hidden in lots of corners in different things, and the maps are kind of big. So
Okay.
you're sort of poking around, and you can get, which introduces the thing like if you rush in to fight them, you're probably going to get mobbed by a bunch of other enemies.
Oh, that's ironic that you like that stuff then. Fucking D&D just... Yeah, let's just rush in. Now we're gonna die to wolves this Sunday.
The other interesting thing is, like, some of the enemy types do really fucked up things. Like, there's an enemy type that when it's a ranged attack, whenever they hit you, you lose experience. And your characters can de-level.
That sounds
And,
infuriating.
like, each hit is, like, a kill.
That sounds infuriating.
There is also an enemy that melee attacks you, that when it hits you, your character ages 5 years.
Okay. That's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So there's a character, and then there's like an enemy that it's got like one giant arm that can smack characters and stun them, but it can also switch places with one of your people. So like it'll like teleport switch you, so it'll be in the middle of your group, be able to hit one of them, and the character it sent will be somewhere else, probably surrounded by enemies where he is. Like, they just did a lot of stuff that makes the actual engagements more interesting than XCOM engagements end up being.
Okay. Cool.
And then, it's a lot of balance of, like, getting characters that can attack area effect in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, there's one of, like, the most basic enemy is called, like, a seed. It's like a little seed pod thing on 2 legs. But then there's a stronger enemy that just sort of, one of its attacks is it just shoots out those seed things at you. And then when it dies, like, it spawns 3 seed things.
Okay.
So there's a lot of like interesting depth to the combat. There are regular versions and then there are advanced versions that just are stronger but also have visual differences.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of neat little details to this game that I really like that make it just feel fleshed out in a way that feels compelling in a way that XCOM always felt sort of annoying. Felt sort of lacking.
How's like the big thing with this is the different generations and the ancestry and stuff like that. How's that stuff? That stuff important.
That's the thing that makes it great.
Okay.
Because you never get into that complacency of I've built up my team, they're awesome, they're always going to be great. Just roll out and always work stuff.
Just roll out.
So if you have a good team, they're only going to be alive for so long. But you're not helpless either, because if you get a character really strong, or like they get a lot of kills, or the game also has like FTL style events where like a random thing will happen, you'll get options, and what can happen from each of those options is also sort of random.
Okay.
Like I had an event where this guy in my Sage Rights Guild, which is like where you're doing research.
Yeah.
He built this ridiculous contraption with all these mechanics on it, and he wasn't sure why he built it, and he didn't know what it did. So you had 3 options.
Okay.
You could activate it there. You could destroy it. Say, I don't want to mess with this. Or you could have it sent to you, which would take like 9 years, and then you could put it in the chalice and see what happens.
Okay. You did that one, obviously.
So I put it in the chalice, and it resulted in all of my characters changing gender.
Okay.
And they gained a new perspective, like, modifier on them.
So, is there kind of like the Double Fine humor in this game as well, then, in that regard?
There's a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But it's very toned down.
Good, because I feel that probably doesn't... I don't like Double Fine humor very much anymore.
Yeah.
So I feel like that might not have any place in that type of game.
I have no reverence for any Double Fine game.
I have reverence for like 2 ever. And that was in a time where there was literally 2 people working on them. Like, so the fact that they have a whole team trying to be silly now, I kind of fucking hate it. a lot. I don't like Double Fine very much at all, like, honestly. But I like where they came from, sort of thing, if that makes any sense. So that's kind of one of the things that, like, if this felt like a Double Fine game in that regard, I would automatically hate it, because I feel like it would have no place from what I've seen of this world for them to be silly. So it's good to hear.
The only dialogue stuff in the game is the chalice itself is like two people. There's an old dude who's sort of like more thoughtful and stuff, and then there's a young woman who's a caperjack and like loves violence and stuff.
Sure.
So they have some interplay, and then they'll also have like certain lines about like if when someone dies, they're like, it's okay, this is gonna happen, like deal with it. Like they console you at certain points. It's all appropriate and it feels right. It doesn't feel particularly Double Finey. Okay. It just feels like it gives the game a kind of life that XCOM that doesn't have.
Okay, that's fine. Sure.
And it's there's not a lot of it. Like this game really, they went in with the approach of the storytelling comes from having these particular characters and the things that happen to them while you play the game. Like the organic storytelling that comes from having this character who sort of struggles and then gets a lot of kills and becomes really strong, and then you put them as like the head of a bloodline, and now they're like starting a family, like that kind of weird stuff.
Okay.
Like, so that like every character has, so like when you're playing it, the more you sort of pay attention to each character in your like that you have and like what's happening to them and just think about it, it's just kind of cool. You just see like how these characters' lives live out, and then when they die, you're like, oh, that person's gone forever. Dang. Like, so if you have like someone really good. So another thing that one of the other really cool things about it is there are relic weapons.
Okay.
That can be passed down from generation to generation, and they have an XP bar. So that as you're getting kills with that character, the item is leveling up, so that'll get stronger. And those are the kind of things that really help you in the late game, is you have good relic weapons to hand down.
Okay.
There's also cool stuff with like researching armor. You can research armor based on the various enemies that have like attributes based on like the enemy stuff for your guys, and they look like you've just stripped off the skin of that enemy and like put it on you. So there's an element called like a bulwark, who whenever he gets hit, he gets a protective armor shell around him, so that any subsequent hits will only deal him 1 damage for that turn. So you can if you've killed enough of them, you can research an armor to put on your caperjacks that give them that ability, basically. Or if they get hit, then they only take 1 damage for subsequent hits after that, and it like forms like all these like the shell forms around them for that turn, and then breaks off.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a way to completely bone like a whole generation of people by making like a retarded stable hand have sex with like the highest order of knights or something, to a point where idiocracy happens and everybody's just like mentally handicapped?
Yeah. So there are traits and there are personalities.
Okay. And
traits get passed down genetically. So you can have traits like dumb-witted or or slow or asthmatic. So if you
can you combine those all into like one generation of just like useless people?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to play this game now.
So you the way you get new people mostly is you form houses. So you'll pick like a regent who's like, who will sit on like a throne, and then you pick a partner for them who's someone who will have sex with them, and then you get children out of that.
Sure.
So if you pick terrible traits, all the kids from them will have terrible traits.
And like all your heroes or whatever with good traits, you just send to die in battle. Just like making a whole bunch of just terrible people. I actually want to do this really badly.
Like, yeah. So that stuff's all great. Like that it lets you do that stuff. You can do you can pair up same-sex partners, but they won't have kids, and you have to like, you spend research time adopting children. Just like babies will pop out of the chalice with research time. But every time you do it, it like increases the time, like for the next one.
Do you feel that was maybe put in because where the internet's at right now with like gender relations and the homosexuality, heterosexuality thing.
Because when they're like making this game, they're like, there's like a weird genetic euthanasia or like just weird stuff about it. So they were very sensitive to trying to make it as open as possible.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just wondering if like the state of how that is now.
Probably it just seemed like bread. I mean, I've also, so this is a game like I didn't back it when it was a Kickstarter, but I've been paying attention to it because like one of the ways they pitched it is like combining XCOM and Fire Emblem Awakening, which are two games I really liked.
Sure.
So I've watched a bunch of their streams of as they were putting it out in development and where they were thinking. So it just seemed like Brad Muir wanted to be open about it. Like he just wanted to be inclusive about that stuff.
Brad Muir is the nicest dude in the industry. That he is never not smiling, but not like in a creepy way. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
That dude is just genuinely happy. So it makes me sad that I don't give a fuck about his game. Because I want to, because that dude is so cool. But I don't know. I might check it out and just see if I can make a whole generation of like the worst people, the worst heroes ever. That sounds great. So
yep, you can do that stuff.
Cool.
It's also cool, like characters, if they get a lot of kills, they get a nickname, like the Turtle, or something, or like Walrus Tooth.
Okay, sure.
I had one character who
find humor in there.
You can actually when you start the game, there are serious like thematic bloodlines and there are silly bloodlines, and you can decide if you want to have only serious or only silly ones or turn like you can set that stuff.
What have you done?
I just put them both on. I was just like, give me a mix.
Sure.
And I just took, so you can actually like select all your bloodlines that you start with, but I just did a random assortment.
Cool.
There's a Davis bloodline that has a bomb, and I think Tazwell is always the first person. But then you get to watch him die.
Oh fuck. That's so bad. You get to watch him die.
You to re-experience it all over again.
I remember when that happened. July 3rd. Because that is when I stopped giving a shit about Giant Bomb. Because everybody was super bummed out. Nobody was really having a good time anymore. And they literally split a whole bunch of them. That is when I felt like Giant Bomb died. Giant Beast, however.
I actually think, what's his name? Dan has been good for Giant Bomb because he's just really enthusiastic about stuff.
He is, but the problem is that he's held back by Jeff not being enthusiastic about anything at all, I feel. Because I feel like Ryan was a good counterpoint. Like, they had worked with each other so much that he could still get him to appreciate stuff and almost bully him into, like, seeing how, like, the good stuff he saw in video games. But, like, Dan has no chance in hell, man. He's so excited about shit, and Jeff's just like, meh. But, like, everything.
Mean, Jeff's still Jeff, but he's gotten... He's in a better place, I think, from just watching it.
I mean, like I was saying, it can't be easy either.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about this with Nathan back when it happened. Like, I can't imagine that first car ride into the city, like, to work the day after you found out.
Yeah.
Alone, because they used to carpool all the time for that, like, 45-minute drive.
Yeah.
That must have been the, like, most quiet, disturbingly sad ride he's ever had before.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of too bad. But
I think he, like, streams out what he's listening to on the radio on Mixlr now and has a chat open when he does his drive.
Yeah, which is sad because he's just replacing Ryan doing that, right? Because that's obviously what they did, is just like listen to dumb music and like probably had fun on the way into work. And now he's just like, I need an internet full of people to replace this one dude.
Yeah.
And it still probably doesn't work because the internet's kind of terrible. But I don't know. I do think Dan's great. I just wish Vinny was around to like do stuff with him more because Vinny is ridiculous and a kid.
And he's really good.
He's a
I've
kid.
been enjoying.
He's a grown-up kid. I love him.
I've been enjoying the Beastcast.
I actually have to listen to it. Who's this new dude they got? I can't remember his name.
I forget his name.
He seems cool though. He seems like a cool dude. So I'm glad that they did that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't have a strong handle on his tastes yet, but
that'll take a while.
Yeah.
It took a long time to even get a handle of what Patrick was all about. It took like 2 years before I felt comfortable enough to like know if I cared what he was talking about or not. And spoiler alert, I usually didn't, but for the most part, Patrick was fine. It's just kind of weird that he went to Kotaku, but whatever.
He wanted to write stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like that he would bring up games that no one else would, just for variety's sake.
Oh, dude, yeah. He was the reason why they started talking about indie games, just like straight up, because he was the only one ever playing them, basically, and then they all started to, and that was cool.
Yes. No, now Vinny like just goes and looks for the weirdest stuff he can find on Steam.
But Vinny's always kind of done that. Like he's always just been.
But that's
I love that dude. He's like the best one.
They look for smaller games on the quick looks they've done out of that office.
I do like that. I like when the people with more pull look at the weirder, more obscure, small stuff rather than like all the Call of Duty and that stuff, which already it has its own name.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But anyways, that aside, so you're enjoying Massive Chalice.
I'm really enjoying Massive Chalice. It's basically like XCOM without the parts of XCOM that I don't like, with a bunch of cool shit that makes me like it more.
Okay.
Like, it's got elements like of FTL, it's got elements of just fantasy RPG stuff. Just the fucking the breeding stuff and the fact that your characters die and are like a limited resource that you have to like maintain makes the game way more interesting than XCOM is.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool. Well, happy to hear it. Because I don't think I'll like it, but I'm willing to try it. I never like to form a full opinion on something until I've at least tried it myself for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a tactics game has a lot of similarities with XCOM. So
fair enough. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means I'll get sick of it pretty quick. Unless there's stuff holding me in there. So
yeah, I just think it has as someone who liked XCOM but thought it got stale pretty quickly, this does a lot to keep it interesting as you play through a run.
Human breeding is great. Paul, do it for the weird incest crossbreed heroes. That is pretty much what the chat is. I might do it. We should say about setting up Steam sharing, because I would like you to try The Witcher without having to pay $60. And
that would
I'd like
be good.
to try Massive Chalice without paying for it.
Yeah.
So maybe we should consider that, because that would be good.
Yeah.
Even the reason why I never really brought it up before is because we play a lot of games together, so we won't utilize it as much probably.
Yeah.
Whereas like Sean and I are good doing that because I'm up when he is sleeping and he wakes up when I am sleeping. So like we're never crossed over.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we could do something so we could at least try these games without breaking the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I think that's it. Like for stuff to talk about.
Like I've been watching some Nostalgia Critic and Cinema Sins videos, but other than that,
I watched Nostalgia Critic last night too. Weird.
I haven't watched his stuff in a while, so I was catching up with some stuff.
I've been watching his TV show series. Like I can't even remember what it's called, like What Were They Thinking or something, or I don't know. But anyways, that was fun because he looks at like some of the weird shit that was on TV for a little bit, like the Cowboys of Moo Mesa, that cartoon with the cow people. Yeah, I don't know, some weird stuff. I guess so much for a short podcast. I'm sorry. It's easy to talk, especially when you've gotten used to, like, when the thing starts rolling for 5 years, I'm used to just going because that's how you have to do it. Especially for the first while where we didn't talk very much at all, like me and Nathan. We kind of had to start adapting to filling dead air because I hated editing long pauses, so I am able to fill a lot of time with my voice like I'm doing right now without even saying anything.
It's acquired skill.
It sucks because that happens in real life now too, where like if something feels awkward, I will just go. And it's really fucking bad. So I apologize. I guess it's not a short podcast.
I'm one of those people who will let the awkward silence sit.
If it's funny,
Let it sit.
that's the best time, when it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're kind of salty. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm not taking any offense to it. I guess
You're listening. That's still great.
That is, especially since it's 4 a.m. for I guess just like some housekeeping stuff. Dungeons and Dragons, Sunday. We will pick up where we left off. I can't believe it's already been 2 weeks almost. Like, it's been 1 week, fully.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
Time flies by, and I am super excited to see how good or bad we do with the wolves, and to see Ben start to talk more and the role play, and hopefully we can get his mic fixed, so that's going to be great. I can't wait for that, and D&D is always just fun, and I want to do more of it.
Super stoked.
I've been talking
Turn-based
to people
combat,
in DMs.
mechanical stuff.
Yeah,
Fun.
that's all it is. It's all just mechanical stuff and imagination. It's amazing.
Like talking to people. It's
Those
great.
nerds in the 80s, they got it right. They knew what they were doing. Whoever created D&D is actually a genius. Just like creating all the little intricacies to make it solid mechanically with dice.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of crazy. But, so I'm super stoked about that. Yeah, David can be an elf racist, as he is, and just kind of... Man, that last episode or session, that was so fucking good.
It was really good.
It was so good. That got me excited about doing it again in a way that I wasn't since the time before when we were doing it. If that makes any sense. Because I was just like, yes, it's starting to come together. Like, people are starting to be idiots and doing their thing.
Yeah.
And it's great.
We're getting into the groove.
We're getting into the groove. So, we got to get Ben in there. He's one session behind, which is, to be fair, like 4 to 5 hours behind. So, he'll get there.
Sure.
But when he does, it'll be great because that dude is kind of a dick and a weird dude. And I'm excited about that. But Sunday, I think we're saying 5 my time, so 7 p.m. Eastern. Is that correct?
Okay.
Oh, you don't even know, do you?
I don't know. I
guess,
usually just wait till like we're getting close to and just seeing what Tony's saying on Twitter.
Yeah, I guess stay tuned to Twitter for that. I'll post updates as I know them. One-off stuff will be happening. Not anytime really soon that I can divulge information, but I've been in talks in DMs with some people, and there's some people that are interested that I'm really, really excited to get in there, and some people who are not responding to me, and that is such a bummer, but that's fine. The Game Dudes channel is coming down. I am taking that down. The videos will be on my channel because the Game Dudes channel was supposed to be a collaborative thing where I wasn't the only one working on it. And it turned out, even from the beginning, that I was the only one working on it. So I'm moving everything over now, so it's all consolidated in one place and in playlists so people can browse if they want and whatnot. So apologies for people that actually watched those back, I think, a year and a half ago when they came out. But they will be coming out again twice every day at 11 a.m. my time and 6 p.m. my time. They're scheduled every day for 2 to come out. So you'll be seeing those. Just ignore them if you've seen them, or watch them again. I don't really give a fuck what you do. Doesn't matter to me.
I don't remember how far I got in the Silent Hill Let's Play. I didn't finish it. I don't remember how far I got.
Okay, do not rest in peace, game dudes. Nathan is not dead. I will actually be talking to him Wednesday. But more importantly, the reason why this is happening is because I've Game Dude's content prepared coming out when these are all caught up. There will be new stuff coming out with some familiar faces and stuff I want to talk to other people about later. But that's why these are being consolidated now, because I got sick of doing the 2-channel thing. Like, the thing is, even like for people with like millions of subscribers, they don't usually do 2 channels because you're splitting your audience.
Yeah.
So, like, why would you? The only reason we did was because there was supposed to be 2 people working on one, and I didn't want to give him the password to my Google Plus and email and everything. But now that that's all dead, that'll be all there. There will be new content at some point. I can't promise when, but it'll be interesting. I'll put it that way. The podcasts are all back up. I'm gonna try to keep that more scheduled. Just keep in mind, yeah, it's hard sometimes. Sometimes there's problems and time constraints and all that sort of thing. This week on TDP, Hank will be joining John and I for TDP because Shauna's gone. So you will likely hear the exact same stuff you heard about video game talk here, maybe with a few more things, but we'll see how that goes. That should be interesting. That'll be fun, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, that'll be good. We'll see if I can get out at a decent time so I can like not make it at midnight. The nice thing is that for TDP, Sean's always the one waking up early and going to bed early because he's a morning person. So with just John and I, we can kind of start whenever we want. But we'll try to keep it regularly scheduled. And this weekend I want to do something stupid for a stream, so I might stream World of Warcraft taxi service and just I should do like a taxi cab's confession sort of thing, just like fly someone around and just like, so what do you do here? Just like talk to them as I'm driving them around.
That sounds great.
That could be really fucking stupid in a way that I could get behind. So yeah, I'm totally behind this. Off the Tracks, the podcast you and Ty did, is available now. It came out last weekend, but or this last weekend, I should say. I think it was Friday I put it up. Ty gave me all this stuff, so I put that up. People can listen to that if they want for... I think you were still rounding up like more episodes of the spring anime.
Yes, we were sort of giving updates for the sort of halfway mark on those shows. We're going to do another one once they're all done.
Okay, cool. Like, is this going to be a regularly scheduled... Not regularly scheduled, I guess, because there was about a month and a week in between this and the
We haven't really
one.
talked about it beyond getting to the end of the season, really.
I guess what I was like getting at is this going to be just for like the spring anime season, or will you be doing like other stuff afterwards, or do you guys know what a plan is for it?
We have not discussed anything beyond the next one we're doing, which is the recap for the season.
Okay. Well,
because I mean, all it was Ty approached me about doing this season of anime, and I said yes. And we haven't really talked about doing anything else. So.
Have you been keeping up with all the anime then? For the most
Not
part?
really. I mostly like caught up and like with a lot of his stuff before we did the last one.
So
I
like
mostly watched it in bulk.
So like when you and Ty decide like maybe in a few weeks let's do another one, you'll just watch all of what you've missed at one time?
Probably. All of what I can, like what I want to watch, all that I can tolerate and want to watch to be able to talk about. Because there's some shows that I'm just like, nope, I'm done. There were 2 shows where I got like partway through an episode and was out. It was out. Although one of them, I think I'm going to have to watch like the next episode from there, because I heard it gets different from then. But
well, yeah. If people want to know what episodes and series you're talking about, they can listen to Off the Tracks episode 2, because that's out. So
Yep.
We won't spoil that here. But is there anything you want to shout out that like you're actually enjoying a lot?
I'm really liking Food Wars because it's ridiculous,
Sure.
and I'm really enjoying Baby Steps season 2 because I really like that tennis anime.
Okay. Fair enough. I think that's a good note to end it off on.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Weird hands.